see my kid. This week, my kid's is home sick today, so that's why I wanted to be here in person. Get out of the house. It's just us two in person today? No. Duncan, Joseph, Bill, and Judy are going to be. Okay. What do we got online?
Yeah, at the moment we've got JR, Brianna, JR. So, there.
I need a quorum. That's what I'm waiting on. Doesn't do me any good to start with that. God bless America, so slow.
Hey Judy, did you just join us on the call?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that.
So you've got JR, Judy.
Hey Judy, that's a quorum. We got a quorum. All right, folks, we got a quorum, so I call to order the March 2021 meeting of the Oxford Planning Commission. We have a quorum present. Commissioners, you have the agenda. Are there any additions, revisions to the agenda as proposed? Hearing none, I have Commissioner King in person, Commissioner Rigby, Commissioner Riddell. Y'all will be my seconds through virtual. Just makes it easier, of course, unless Commissioner King does not wish to make a motion. But as far as our agenda goes, Commissioner King, do you have a?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I have a motion to approve. Commissioner Rigby, do you have a second?
Second.
Second, all right. Commissioner Rigby, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Here live?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Approval of the agenda, staff report, any? All right. Hearing none, I will move to our public hearings, which is the first case. Public hearing for case 2714. It's community mortgage. It's filed a request for variance from section 7.2.9.7 of wall signs for property located at 400 South Lamar Boulevard. Ben.
Thank you. And so this is a variance request for signage, related to signage. And this property is inside the historic district, so it does carry its own separate standards. In this case, this building has 2 public entrances, so it's entitled to have 2 signs on the facades that actually have their own public entrances. The issue here is actually the quantity of square footage that is allotted for that purposes. So Community Mortgage, it's located at 400 South Lamar. It's been there since around 2015. And at that time, the applicant installed a Community Mortgage sign on the, I guess it would be the south facade of the building that faces towards University Avenue. And then there was a decal that was on the door. Since that time, in June 2018, the owner of the building was granted a COA for renovation to the building, where they installed awnings, and 2 of the other businesses now located in the center, Oxford Gourmet and Gifts, and then to the north, which is Buff City Soap, have actually installed signage on top of the awning that's there. Community Mortgage would be the only tenant that does not have that ability. So they're here to request a variance to allow them additional square footage. That sign that's already there is 23 square feet. And, so they technically have the ability to add an additional 3 square foot sign. Their hopes is that they can maintain the existing size and scale of their signage on their canopy, which is the reason for this variance request. So the proposed sign that they would like to install measures about 22.65 square feet. So this variance would be for approximately 19 square foot of additional signage. I think it's in the absence of the Community Mortgage sign on the canopy, the east facade appears unfinished. The applicant could install a sign above the canopy, but it would just be not consistent. And so therefore, due to the renovation of the building, which was proposed by the building owner and not by the tenant, and in order to maintain a consistent aesthetic of signage along South Lamar, as approved by the Courthouse Square Preservation Commission, we do recommend approval of this signage variance. The applicant is here if you do have any questions for him.
Any questions? Any questions, JR, Judy?
Yeah, I got one just to clarify, Ben. If we were to grant the variance, is the variance for an overall sign square footage or for one of the signs that we're considering?
The request is to add the sign as proposed, so it would be for the one sign in this sign for approximately 19 square feet of signage. So they would be able to keep it. That wouldn't grant them the ability to, I guess, take one sign down and then add another one. I think that the nature of this request is specific to this request for this sign.
Yeah, so I guess my question is, if this business changed, or if the space changed hands to a different business and they wanted to put up signage, with the way that it's structured right now, are we going to be in the same situation where the sign on the front of the building requires a variance, or are we giving them rights to use both signs from now on that building?
If you have a new business, I think we would have to take a look at the application of what signage they're planning to put on the building. They could put one sign up with their 26 square feet, because that's the width of the tenant space, and that one sign could just be over the east side. The east facade, that's right. Or they could have a hanging sign, so there are different mechanisms within the code. It's just, the type of sign that's being proposed here is treated as a wall sign, which makes it difficult from a calculation standpoint for square footage or area allotment, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I have a question for Ben. Okay, so I want to understand this. They have the one on the side.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to remember whatever the financial institution is in the back. We went around and around because they wanted to put a sticker on their door with their name on it, which would have constituted a third sign or something like that. I don't remember. I agree that it would look for them to all be the same across the front, but then is Bluff City Soap not going to come to us next year and say, well, they have a sign so that people coming up south Lamar can see them. We want one so people coming down south Lamar can see us on our side. 19 square feet is a lot of square footage for a sign variance to me. I think, have they talked about taking the one on the side down or making it smaller?
Yeah, I'll let Jason respond to that question, but Judy, I think the difference between the circumstances that you just posed with Buff City Soap is that you have a public road that's right there, and so they would be able to calculate that that square footage on that north facade. They would be able to count that, where in this instance it's a private drive, so that's not counted. So I think Buff City could actually install a sign on that north facade and potentially be within the requirements of the signage calculation. But I'll let Jason speak to whether or not they've considered. You can come up here. Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm not sure what I just want to make sure I understand what your question was regarding the current signage, to make sure I answered the question correctly.
Well, I was wondering, and it makes sense to me that you would want your sign on the front to match the other two, but 19 square feet in the downtown area is a big variance for a sign to me. That's a lot of square footage for a sign variance in the so I was wondering, had you considered taking the one on the side down or making it smaller?
Right. Well, you know, obviously we had considered that. The issue that I had there is that signage. We've been in that location almost 5.5 years. We put that signage up when we moved to that location, which was, at that time, there were no awnings. We didn't have the option to do what we did now, or we would have. That signage, so 2 points on that. One, that signage on the side was quite expensive when we put it up. It's iron signage. And number two, I think what we see there is probably 75% of the people coming into our office are coming from the University Lamar intersection. And for us, the easiest, we have parking directly, well, just to the left of where that signage is. You'll see Oxford Gourmet's parking. Right there to the left of that, we have 3 parking spots. So what we have, for 5 years, I've been able to say, hey, you're coming in here. When you're at the red light, look straight ahead up, white building, community mortgage letters. There's parking right there under that, because as Ben was saying, on the other side of the road is a public road. On our side of the building, it's a private drive. If that were square footage, being that we have an entrance on that side, if we could count that, we wouldn't have a sign variance. But being that it's private parking instead of a road, even though they have parking on that road as well, that was...
They had other, so that doesn't really, we have an ordinance, and 19 square feet on a 1-story building in the downtown area is a lot of sign variance square footage to me. That's not my point. That's my thinking. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Is the sign going to be the same height and diameter height as the ones on the 2 other businesses?
Yes.
So 19 feet is just length, right?
It's square feet.
Square feet, okay. So square footage, but it just happens to be community mortgage, so I got it.
Right. I mean, we could put the same signage they have on the front, this big, and be within, 3 square feet. I could put that up there and be within the variance, but obviously I would assume that everyone would want that to look identical to the other 2, just from from the site standpoint.
I got it.
I think that it's our businesses come in and out all the time, and I think I don't know that there's any point in us saying, yes, let's make it like the others, because who knows who's going to be there in 2 years. I mean, I hope they all make it, but some of them may move on to better things. So, that to me does not, unless historic preservation said we always want everybody that's in these 3 spots to have these signs forever. I don't think that constitutes the variance, for them to match.
Oh, yeah, I think the design of the sign is up to historic preservation, not to us. We're just concerned with square footage, so I just wanted to make sure as to how we were calculating that. Any additional questions or comments? Do we have somebody, another commissioner to join?
Commissioner Murphy joined us.
Okay. All right.
And Commissioner Freeman's here.
Okay. Any questions, Commissioner Murphy, Commissioner Freeman? We are
No
on.
from Freeman.
Yeah.
No
Any-
question. For the record, I did try to call it 5. I just had technical issues, I believe.
Okay. All right. I'll entertain a motion, and I'm sorry, Commissioner Riddell, Commissioner Rigby, any additional questions, comments?
No.
No.
Any comments from anyone here attending wish to object to the variance? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion as to case number 2714.
Commissioner, I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance request.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second from anyone virtually?
Second.
All right, Commissioner Rigby is a second. Commissioner Murphy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
No.
Commissioner Freeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Rigby?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. The variance is approved. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, guys.
That brings us to case number 2715. It's Elite Lawn Club LLC, and it's a request for variance from section 3.2.8 as to fences, walls, and hedges for property located at 1 Highland Place.
Yes, sir. Subject property is approximately half-acre residential lot located at the corner of Highland Place and Jackson Avenue West, directly north of the university. The applicant is requesting a variance from section 3.2.8 for 2 feet to replace the length of an existing 6-foot wooden privacy fence along the northern property line. The application notes that the fence was built 30 years ago prior to the creation of the subdivision. The front entry of this house is situated towards Jackson Avenue. A fence is located along the northern property line, which is perceived as the applicant's rear yard, but is technically the front and side yard of the property. The issue is, in this instance, is that an 18-foot section of the existing fence is located in the front yard, west of the detached garage. Fences located in a front yard are regulated to 4 feet in height and must allow for visibility, while fences inside or rear yards may be up to 8 feet in height. The applicant is proposing to construct a new fence that will be the exact same height, size, and materials as the existing fence. Applicant believes that the fence will increase privacy and screen an existing overgrown brush along a established utility right-of-way. The applicant has provided a letter of support from the neighbor directly north of where the proposed fence will be located. That letter is included in the packet. Double front lots make it challenging to comply with front yard fence height requirements of the Land Development Code. Staff believes the situation creates a hardship not created by the applicant. Staff recommends approval of the 2-foot fence height variance with the 2 conditions stated in your report.
Any questions or comments? Any questions virtually?
No from Freeman.
All right, thank you, Bill. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion on case number 2715.
I would like to make a motion to approve the variance request subject to staff conditions.
There's a motion to approve subject to the 2 staff conditions. JR, Commissioner Rigby, is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Commissioner Freeman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Commissioner Rigby?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner King, and I vote yes as well. The variance is approved. Yes, sir. Next case is 2716. It's Griffin Tanner, and it's a request for variance from section 3.2.8. Another request for variance from fences, walls, and hedges for property located at 1210 Harrison Avenue. Yes, sir.
The subject property is located just east of the square and is the site of the recently approved site plan for Harrison Yard. This request is to exceed the 4-foot maximum for fences located in a front yard. Tyler Avenue runs along the south side of the lot and for the length of the patron area descends approximately 2 feet along the retaining wall. If a 4-foot fence were to be constructed between the sidewalk and the retaining wall, the amount of fence above the level where patrons would be located would drop from approximately 2 feet to 0 feet. If a 4-foot fence were to be constructed on top of the retaining wall at the patron level, the Land Development Code requires that the measurement be taken from the base of the retaining wall. The fence would then be approximately 8 feet at its highest point. The applicant states as a reason for hardship is that with fill for the site, the patron area would be almost level with the top of a 4-foot fence, creating both a safety and security issue. Staff acknowledges the danger of patrons accidentally exiting the lot 4 feet down onto Tyler Avenue, in addition to the difficulty of maintaining the control of the flow of patrons into and out of the patron area. Due to the nature of the lot and the street below, which descends in elevation as it goes east, staff recognizes there are special conditions that are peculiar to the land. Our recommendation, staff believes that sufficient hardship exists to grant a variance to allow the applicant to erect a 4-foot fence atop the retaining wall at the same grade as the patron area.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? You may, absolutely. Just come and please provide us your name.
I'm Griffin Tanner. I'm the owner of the lease space. I may have made a mistake, but the purpose was to request a 6-foot fence, not a 4-foot fence. 4-foot, unfortunately, due to the nature of our business, would not deter theft or keep people in or out. So I just wanted to make that clear.
So it's 6 foot on top of the retaining
It would be a 6-foot. That's correct.
8 feet total. That's measured.
On the south side, the rest would be just a 6-foot fence everywhere else.
Ben, do you need time to rethink that then?
Maybe we postpone this and maybe step outside to make sure we have a full understanding of that? Or we
Move me to the back.
You want to move it to the end of the agenda? Sure. Well, let me first, I'm not going to do this by myself. Is there any objection to moving case number 2716 to the end of the agenda so this amendment may be considered and discussed? Any objection?
No objection.
Is there a motion to grant, I guess it would be an amendment to the agenda to allow 2716 to be moved to it would actually be number 12 on our agenda? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to move case number 2716 to number 12 on today's agenda.
There is a motion, JR. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Commissioner Murphy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Rigby?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. We will move case number 2716 to the end of the agenda. It will be brought up then.
Thank you.
Robert's rules, they'll get you every time. All right, which now will bring us to, 2717?
2718.
Yeah, I had on here, the written agenda does not have it, but I saw on our regular agenda.
It's
on
withdrawn.
Board pack, it was withdrawn.
2717, part of the variance was withdrawn.
Okay.
Part of it's still going.
That's what I wanted to be. So the rear yard is still going forward, but the
side
side yard
setback.
is not. Okay. So 2717, it's a public hearing for an application filed by Deborah and Joe Hankins. It's a request for variance from 2.6.3 as to rear yard setback line for property located at 901 Somerset Drive. Yes, sir.
Okay. The subject property is Lot 8 of the Somerset subdivision. This property received a rear setback variance of up to 15 feet in 2001 to facilitate the construction of a specific house plan. This request is to facilitate construction of a single-story bedroom addition and to expand off the existing garage in line with the rear of the existing building. This request would extend the entire width of the buildable area approximately 9 feet to the west from the north setback line to the south setback line, a distance of approximately 71 feet. In the packet, there's a shaded in area on the picture there. Staff met with applicant February 26th to discuss the applicant's original plans, which would have required both rear and side setback variances. The applicants conveyed their desire to expand the size of the house and the difficulty of expansion on the property due to the setback limitations and the positioning of the current structure. The applicant revised their plans to reflect only a rear setback variance request. As to the rear setback, staff is supportive of this request. The functional location of the rear setback line was set as the rear of the existing building when the original variance was granted in 2001. As the applicant is not requesting to be any closer to the neighboring property, no additional privilege would be granted to the applicant for this request. Staff recommends approval of the rear yard setback variance request with the following condition: that approval is for the plan as submitted.
Does everyone understand the request? So basically, they're not adding anything. While they're adding anything, it doesn't encroach any more on what was granted them previously.
Correct.
Okay. So they're falling in line with what is already given to.
Yes.
And they're not encroaching, they're not going south to the neighbor.
Correct.
They're going west to the depot trail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Judy, you got it?
Yeah, I did. Okay.
Okay. I had that question as well. I just wanted to make sure. The plan's a little sketchy, but I got it. All right, any more comments virtually? Any questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion as to the amended application for 2717 for the rear setback variance.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance request to the rear yard setback, subject to staff conditions.
There is a motion to approve amended application per staff conditions. Is there a second, JR?
Second.
There is a second. Commissioner Murphy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Rigby?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. The variance is approved.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
That staff, that from now on, when something partially gets withdrawn, can you denote it in a different way than putting the red withdrawn? Because I thought that whole case was,
I thought the same thing as well.
I just thought it was gone. So I did not realize we'd still be hearing part of it.
Okay. All right, that brings us now to 2718. It's a public hearing for an application filed by Rhonda Lambert. It's a request for variance from a few different sections 7.2.96F as to business signs and 7.2.9.7 as to wall signs for property located at 2605 Jackson Avenue West.
Okay, the subject property is located on Jackson Avenue in the Gallery 2 development. The request is for additional signage beyond what was permitted on September 2nd, 2020. At that time, 3 signs were permitted, which is the maximum number allowed for any business. As the building has 45 feet of building frontage and is more than 30 feet away from the road, the maximum allowable sign area is 90 square feet. The approved signage for this business was approximately 89.8 square feet. The applicant has stated that the city's requirement for frontage elements on the face that fronts Jackson Avenue creates confusion as to which side is the actual front entrance, although all the parking is located nearest the entrance to the building. McAllister's has installed 3 signs with 90 square feet of signage area available to provide a sign that states where the entrance is. Staff believes that any hardship in this circumstance is self-created. As there is no hardship in this instance, staff recommends denial of the requested variance.
Any questions or comments? Sure, we'll wait.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, this is Bill Freeman. We couldn't hear that at home.
Yes, the applicant is having difficulty joining virtually, and we are sending the applicant additional details as far as the meeting so she or he can connect. Per the application, it's a she, but I don't want to assume anything.
I had the same problem, so I certainly will be patient with them.
Ms. Lambert, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. I'm sorry you had complications getting in. We have brought up your application. It is now before the floor. Any commissioner have a question for Ms. Lambert?
Ms. Lambert, this is Commissioner King. Could you explain the confusion you think customers are having with the signage now? You're saying that people don't know where to park, or they don't know where the entrance is?
Yes, sir. I'm not sure why this restaurant was designed so that it appears that there's 2 front entrances. There's parking area in the back where there's a shopping center, and then obviously there's parking in the front as well off the main road. And my understanding from the area director was that people were confused on which location, what area was the front. Actually, the door that's on the back of the restaurant that goes out to the patio is not honestly a door that leads outside. It's really into the kitchen, so it's only a door for kitchen and employee people to be using. But I think what I'm understanding is that people are trying to park in the back and come in that door in the back part of the restaurant.
Is there signage on the door directing people to the correct entrance?
I don't think there is. I think there's a logo back there, but I don't think there's any store hours or anything like that, and there's not an arrow that I know that's pointing people in that direction.
So there is no parking on the side that faces Jackson Avenue. There is only a drive-through on that side. The only parking would be closest to where the current front entrance is.
And I'm sorry, Ms. Lambert, I'm just asking a question of the planning staff first. From what I can tell from here, the mural will be in the back toward the park, well, excuse me, it'll be by the parking away from Jackson Avenue? Is that what's proposed? That just, to me, it looks like that arrow is pointing.
And when I look at the site plan, and when I'm looking at this thing on Google Earth, there appears to be parking between the back of McAllister's, which is the north elevation, and shopping center.
Yes.
But where we're asking to put the mural is on the south elevation, which faces the main road.
Got it. So that
yes, sir. And it doesn't have a logo or anything like that on it. It's similar to what McAllister's did on their entry canopies, where they have welcome above those entry canopies is what we're asking to do.
Understood.
Yes, sir. McAllister's, as you know, Oxford is their home. This is where they originated from, and they're very proud of that fact. And so, like I said, they really wanted people to know, welcome to Oxford. They didn't just say welcome, they're saying welcome to Oxford. The size that they're proposing for this is a 38-inch by 75-inch, which is 19.79 square feet.
Thank you. Any additional questions for Ms. Lambert? We're gonna put this up. So bear with us for a second.
Yes, sir.
Do you see how that arrow is? Am I looking at it wrong, or is it backwards, or is that the north elevation or the south elevation? I can't.
Where's Jackson Avenue on there?
Yeah, that's what I.
Yeah, it's the south elevation, which is what we're pointing to. It's the south elevation, and that faces. Oh, you're saying that's Jackson?
This is Jackson.
That's Jackson.
Yes, ma'am. That's why I was confused.
And the parking is in the back.
And parking's right back here.
I apologize. I apologize.
And
to
where's
you.
the main entrance?
Right here.
That's the south elevation. So the south elevation is where we're asking. It would be the elevation that faces Jackson.
So the arrow is on the wrong.
That's correct. My graphic designer has put the arrow on the wrong side. I apologize for that.
So they wanted
So it would be the opposite side that's facing Jackson. If you look at the south elevation, sir, you can see the brick area that's to the left of the entry doors.
I thought something was a little off.
Right.
I'm so sorry. I just noticed he threw the arrow on the wrong side.
You're welcoming
I
people to
apologize.
Oxford coming from Dick's.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
That's why I was confused. I thought that was the employee entrance. So can you, and I don't know if she can she see this?
Yes, sir, I see it.
Okay, this is the front entrance of your
Yes,
building.
sir.
This is not the front entrance. This is the Jackson Avenue. The front entrance is actually the north entrance.
Right.
There's no parking on the Jackson Avenue side. It's a drive-through lane and then Jackson Avenue. So the only entrance to this building that's accessible is actually from the north facade, the north entrance.
The parking.
But she wants the welcome to Oxford sign on this facade?
I I'm sorry, it is the MCA side. I know y'all think I'm probably crazy. It's been a long day for me. I apologize. I've been at the hospital with my daddy, and I'm trying to get myself gathered, but it is the other side where the MCA logo is at, because a lot of people don't recognize the MCA logo as being McAllister. And so we thought that would help them to understand that is the correct one right there. So it would be to the left, yes, sir, it would be to the left of those double doors, which is the entrance.
Okay.
That's the side that's facing Jackson.
No. To locate this "Welcome to Oxford" sign right here in this space.
As people are walking in.
That's right.
This is a very odd building. It's not, this is the only one I've had that's been designed this way, so it gets confusing.
I understand. I'm confused.
I'm not used to having one drawn this way.
I have not, it's my understanding that those double doors there with underneath the MCA logo is it an actual entrance to the store?
Yes, sir. That's the entrance to the dining room.
Okay, an entrance to the dining room, and it is also facing Jackson Avenue?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
No.
Okay,
No,
that's
no.
why I'm confused. It's not.
No, this is coming in from the parking
I'm
lot.
sorry, it faces the mall.
Yeah, it
Yes,
faces
sir,
the
faces the mall.
Galleria.
So it's going to be on the
North side,
north.
facing the Galleria.
That's correct. That's correct.
I'm good. I'm fine. I've got my bearings. Thank you.
I've got mine too, finally. Thank you. I'm sorry.
It's quite all right. Okay. Any additional now?
Well, but as far as the actual the variance request, so it's a 19 square feet, and you're already at 90, which the maximum allowed. So you're asking for about 20% more, 23% more. So,
And an additional sign.
and 4 signs instead of 3. So that's a lot. That's a lot.
Well,
It just seems like a lot.
I've looked at a lot of the other locations around there, and you know, McDonald's was the one that got me because of the welcome signs that they have. They have 3 wall signs, plus they have their own dedicated pylon sign, and then they also have these 2 welcome signs over their entry canopies. And they have window posters on all their windows, pretty much. We want to do things the right way. We don't want to just put something up, and I'm sure those posters are considered signage. We want to do things the right way, and that's why we wanted to present to the board our proposal of having, you know, the welcome sign. We're not trying to ask for anything outrageous or anything more than we feel like, you know, we've been seeing at some of the other locations. But we just want to make sure that we do it the right way.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask a question, Brian?
Yeah, I think the only comment I would make in response to that, you know, she pointed out McDonald's, which was developed well before this current land development code, which this code was adopted in 2017, November 2017, which put in place new signage requirements for new development and new tenants as they come through. And so, you know, if and when, you know, McDonald's finds a new location or something like that, they would be subject to those requirements. But unfortunately, they predated this, and so you know, McAllister's having to comply with our current regulations.
Sure. Any questions firstly for the applicant or or staff?
I have one.
Judy.
Go ahead, Judy.
Go ahead.
Okay. I understand that you need people to understand this is the intent. And I understand y'all must be changing your logo from your house and CA. But changing your logo does not justify me a variance. Have you considered putting houses on that side, know it, and put welcome underneath it or something on the sign that fits into the code. I don't know that that whole sign that says welcome even says this is the entrance. And it seems to me you have room up there that you do it if you change the existing sign. Have y'all discussed that?
Yes, ma'am, we did present. We wanted to do McAllister's like we have on the south elevation, on the north elevation, but we just did not have enough square footage because we just didn't have enough square footage to do a sign there. It would have not been very large at all, wouldn't have been, you know, it would have been like a tic-tac up on the building. We chose, our corporate chose, that to put a sign on the south elevation and one on the west elevations because of the mall being behind them and the side streets. And so we only had so much square footage to work with left, and the MCA is something they've been presenting inside the restaurant with some of their decor. So with only 24 square foot left, they asked me to propose that for the north elevation, and that's what we did. Whether they made the right call on where to put the McAllister's Deli, I'm not sure. But that's the reason that we've got just the little square box wall sign on the north elevation.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. There's also a Popeyes that's not very far from this location that also has a front sign and a side medallion sign and 2 cabinets and a reader board on a freestanding sign. They also have window posters too. I think it's fairly new. So again, like I said, we're not trying to do anything that's not kind of already around in a lot of the locations that are close to us. We're just asking for and really a welcome sign to me. I would think, and you may not agree, that I think the logo and the signage, the logo and the name is signage. I don't know if welcome is considered a sign or not. I'm assuming it is. But I do appreciate this opportunity to talk to you guys about it and ask.
Just a couple points in response. Yes, we would consider that a sign. We don't evaluate content in order to determine whether something's a sign or not. That's, you know, if you're going to place it on the building, you can place whatever you would like on the building so long as you meet the limitations that we have. And I think that that's just where our position is.
Yes, sir.
Any additional questions? Anyone here at the in the audience wish to comment? All right. Hearing none, there is the request for the variance. I think we're all straight on the request being made. Is there a motion as to the application stated within case number 2718 variance as to business signs and wall signs? Is there a motion? Anyone virtually?
This is Commissioner Freeman. I would make a motion for denial.
There's a motion to deny the request. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Rigby has issued his second. Commissioner King, how do you vote?
I support the motion to deny the variance.
Commissioner Riddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Commissioner Rigby?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. The application for variance is denied. Thank you, Ms. Lambert.
Thank you, I appreciate your time, and I hope everyone has a good evening.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure if it's true for others, but I've lost the video feed on my setup.
I
Joseph?
have as well. This is Freeman.
Okay. We'll work on it. Just give us a second. Hang with us, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and at least call the case while we wait on video to be restored. It's case number 2719. Gray, are we going to hear these? Are we going to hear these together?
I talked to Ben about this. We're going to do them separately.
Okay.
But I won't reiterate the same.
That's fine. We have, there are two requests from the same applicant, but yet we will hear them separately. The first is public hearing for case 2719. It's Drew Joyner and Waffle House. It's a special exception request as provided in section 2.6.9 of the Land Development Code for property located at Ed Perry Boulevard at Sisk Avenue in Oxford Commons. All right, once we get video back up, or if it's possible to get it back up, we will proceed.
And
Mr. Chairman, I think you can proceed
Right.
legally without it.
Okay.
It's noticed as audio or video.
Fair enough. In the interest of time and on advice of City Council, we are going to proceed forward. Gray, you have the floor.
all right.
We just got it back.
Okay.
Everybody can still hear me, correct? As far as that
Yes.
goes. All right. Subject property for this case is located at the northeast corner of the roundabout at Sisk Avenue and Ed Perry Boulevard in the Oxford Commons Planned Unit Development. The property is adjacent to Highway 7 on the west side. The irregular, narrowly shaped lot measures approximately just over half an acre and is undeveloped. The applicant is proposing a 1,820 square foot Waffle House restaurant, a Waffle House parking variance, administrative site plan, and one lot subdivision for a site north of this property, also within Oxford Commons, was approved just last year. The applicant, in addition to this special exception request, is now requesting a parking variance. The proposal is currently being reviewed by the Site Plan Review Committee. The applicant is requesting that the building be constructed 77.4 feet from the front east property line. That's just over 19 feet further than allowed for the front yard build-to line maximum in the suburban center zoning district. Section 2.6.9 footnote 4 of the Land Development Code states that a front yard build-to line of up to 150 feet may be requested by special exception in suburban center. The applicant states the need for additional feet due to the small size of the lot and the customer demand for easily accessible parking for dine-in services. Waffle House is planning for 2 rows of parking in front of the building. Additionally, the fire department requires a minimum 26-foot wide drive lane for their trucks. This restaurant will not have a drive-through. Landscape plan submitted on February 25th indicates extensive landscaping along the east property line parallel to Ed Perry Boulevard. And the proposed request would be in harmony with other commercial areas in the Oxford Commons PUD, as such build-to lines are commonly seen having 2 rows of parking in front of strip commercial centers with dining, including northeast of this site at the Alexis as well as at the Terrace. We did receive one letter today that I've included in the report regarding this case. Staff recommends approval of the requested special exception. As observable at many developments throughout Oxford Commons, this front yard build-to line with 2 rows of parking in the front reflects standard building patterns in this planned unit development. Additionally, because the site is bound on all sides by streets, the flexibility inherent with traditional side and rear yards is limited for the amount of patrons and employees that the Waffle House standard business model requires.
Any questions?
What, yeah, maybe we should.
Paul, you the applicant?
Nina's here.
I'm here representing the applicant, and Mr. Joyner is here as well.
Sure.
I'm happy to answer questions, or would have anything to add to that?
Do you have a question, Mark?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Come on, Paul.
Hi, Paul. Would it be possible to have parking in the back and bring the side of the restaurant forward a little, I guess, to the east, and have additional parking in the back? That way.
Well, you know, so the 30 spaces that were required, 29 actually, I guess. You really, are you suggesting we have parked in the front and the back?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've got to have drive lanes along with that. I don't think you can fit, you know, but, so if we had a separate drive or parking bay in the rear, you'd also have to have two-way traffic so cars could get in and out, which is another 24 feet of pavement.
So this.
The fire department drives at 24 feet at a minimum, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Any additional questions? All right. I have and I apologize to everyone here. I just have a question in general, and it's really not regarding the special exception, Paul, but I forgive my moment here. Is the crosswalk that goes across Ed Perry, are you going to have the ability to enter the parking lot from?
Yeah, in fact, I've talked to Ben about exactly that. I need to coordinate with our client, but we are going to have a sidewalk to connect directly to the site, but with somewhat of an oversight on it.
Again, no, I apologize for, that's not really pertinent to the request.
No, it's a good question. Ben and I talked about that today, actually.
Okay. Any additional questions? Obviously, I've set a precedent, so it can be pertinent or not pertinent. Commissioner Bradley is somewhere applauding my question. All right, I'll entertain a motion as to case number 2719.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the special exception request in case 2719, subject to other staff conditions.
There's none.
Okay.
All right, I have a motion to approve. Commissioner Rigby, is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Commissioner Freeman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Commissioner Rigby?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. The special exception is approved, which brings us now to case number 2720. It's a variance for parking for the same location, Ed Perry Boulevard at Sisk Avenue, same applicant, Drew Joyner and Waffle House Gray.
Yes, sir. As Paul mentioned, they're requesting 29 parking spaces for the Waffle House. The requested variance is to allow for more parking than is designated in the Land Development Code for a restaurant. Section 3.8.8.3 states that one parking space is required for each 100 square feet of patron area. In this instance, the submittal requires 18 parking spaces. The code can allow a maximum of 25% more parking than is allowed in this zoning district. An additional 25% of parking for this proposal would allow for a total of 22 spaces, 7 spaces less than the proposal calls for. The supplemental letter from the previous Waffle House's approvals last year stated that Waffle House's experience of operating 2,000 restaurants for 64 years, they find it typical for 3 or 4 of their customers to be driving from separate locations to share a table at all times of the day. The applicant stated that a typical shift can vary from 3 to 4 employees working during slower parts of the day to as many as 10 during busier shifts. The applicant believes that a strict enforcement of the parking code would place an unreasonable hardship on their business and would deter customers if convenient parking is not available and cause the business to be unsuccessful. A reminder, there is no drive-through at this location. The proposed lot can be thought of similar to an island. It's separated by 3 roads from the remainder of the entire Oxford Commons development. The development opportunities for this small and uniquely shaped lot are very limited, and this proposal appears to work well for the applicant. Due to the proposal's location, Waffle House is unable to take advantage of shared parking from adjacent properties and must provide for it on its own site. While the uniqueness of this restaurant model is certainly worthy of consideration, staff believes that the peculiar shape and location of this lot is a greater justification for supporting this variance. Staff recommends approval of the parking variance with the one condition stated in your report. Approval is for the plan is submitted.
Okay, any questions for the applicant virtually? Marvin, question?
No questions.
All right, no questions. Anyone here tonight wish to object to the variance involved in case number 2720?
Mr. Chairman, we just want to point out that we did receive the comment, and it's included in the packet.
Oh, yeah, it's the same letter that I mentioned in the previous case, but it's also included in this report. Thanks.
I was going to do that and make sure we include a copy for each case. All right. Understanding that if any commissioner's not seen the objection, which I believe was sent via email, please let us know and we'll get that to you. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion as to case number 2720.
Can I make a quick comment?
Yes, you may, please.
And it's not really a question, it's just that we've had the same reasoning with them last time, that people drive and meet there. People drive and meet at all restaurants. That's my only question, that's my only comment.
Thank you, I agree. Is there any more comments or questions? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion as to case number 2720.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance request in case 2720, subject to staff condition.
There is a motion to approve. Commissioner Rigby, is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Commissioner Freeman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
No.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Commissioner Rigby?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. The variance is approved. Case number 2721 has been withdrawn, and case number 2722 has been postponed, which now brings us back to case number 2716. Again, to refresh your memory, it's Griffin Tanner, and it's a request for a variance from section 3.2.8, fences, walls, and hedges. It's for the property located at 1210 Harrison Avenue. Yes, sir.
Okay, you want me to reread?
Now, does anyone need us to reread the staff report on this case? Understanding that there has been a change, can you explain the change, just so we're all clear?
So the original staff understanding was that the request was for 4 foot as measured from the road, or sorry, would be 6 foot as measured from the road, so a 4 foot fence plus a 2 foot retaining wall. The request is for a 6 foot fence atop the retaining wall. Okay, so on everything that is there in blue would be the request for where the 6 foot fence would be. The staff has no real quarrels with the north side or the interior portions of that, as the fence kind of works with topography on the north side, and it's an interior fence. On the south side, or in the middle of the lot there. On the south side, kind of where the holly bushes are notated, is where we'd be running into kind of the real meat of the request. Honestly, if it kind of makes sense if we are okay with having it being all right on the north and all right being in the middle, it makes sense from a kind of a safety and security standpoint to continue that line on around down to the south line on Tyler Avenue there. Plus, it would be kind of pushed back behind the holly bushes. It would be screened decently well. Staff is generally supportive of this. If you want to.
I'm just making sure I'm clear. Is everyone virtual? See what we're dealing with now? I mean, it's just a 2-foot increase. I mean, it is a 2-foot increase. I didn't mean to minimize it like that.
Right. We've got pictures of the site if you'd like to see it kind of in context.
So it'd be 6 feet on top of that wall?
Right. And you can kind of see that portion of fence to the backside there. That is, or over here-ish. That's 4 foot there. So that's about maybe 2.5 feet extending currently. So on top of that.
So just tell me, what difference does it make then going from 4 feet to 6 feet there? What does that 2 additional feet provide that 4 feet does not?
I'll let the applicants
Sure.
speak to it, but it seems to be, from our staff's understanding, that it's a safety and a security standpoint.
Correct. So I'm Griffin Tanner, I'm the owner of Harrison's. We've already seen that people are excited about our new venture, and it's difficult to. We foresee that a 4-foot fence is going to be very difficult to keep people from jumping it when we are.
Are you worried about wedding crashers or party crashers?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I actually have some pictures.
So this is as much security as in, okay. I was thinking, okay.
It's going to be what kind of fence are we talking about?
It's the same vinyl coated black fence.
I was thinking you were more worried about people falling out. You're worried about people jumping in, or both?
Well, both. Obviously, where those bushes are, we're putting those there just to kind of keep people from.
What kind of business is this? I'm just.
It's an event venue, restaurant, bar.
Okay.
You need them to go through the front doors so they can pay cover.
That's right.
Well, and I can promise you a 4-foot fence is not going to keep my son and his friends in or out. So I agree with you. But
Your target demographic.
right, they are. But I am concerned, I guess this is a question for staff. I mean, 2 feet is a big difference. Should we vote on this now, or should we wait for 30 days or whatever? That's my only concern. Because this is what was advertised, I guess.
That's a question for legal, and I'll turn it over. Is it an amendment that we should allow people to object to, because there could be somebody who did not have an objection to 4 feet but has an objection to 6 feet? I don't know.
I think that's for the board to decide, but you asked exactly the right question. If there are people who shrugged off what they saw in writing, what was noticed on the field or on the site, and didn't come to a public hearing because they could stand 6 feet, 8 feet is a pretty tall downtown wall. I don't think there'll be anything like it. I think that's y'all's call, but it would not be an unreasonable opportunity to give the public the chance to weigh in, if that's what you decide.
Judy, I think that's a very good point. I mean, that's why I corrected myself to say I didn't mean to minimize. It's just 2 feet. We have seen in history past that 2 feet can mean the difference between a packed boardroom and an empty boardroom.
Right. We're not talking about somebody's backyard somewhere with one neighbor. This is a pretty big visible area.
Sure.
I guess I'd like to add that, that's kind of the point of our landscaping, is to try and dissolve this fence the best that we can. I also would add that, during the market of COVID and what we've been through, we're really trying to get open. We have some stuff set up and we're anticipating cash flow
Well, to me, everything I understand what you're saying. It's just a sense of transparency to the public that, in this instance, and many times we might kick something back to staff to review and then just bring it back at the next meeting if there changes substantial enough that, maybe notice should be given. And so I think that's the concern, which, in the interest of public transparency is, to me, a valid concern.
Well, you also could have somebody, it's a very good grounds for an appeal to the Board of Aldermen, which in turn would have you put up a fence and then take it down, which we don't want to see. How long's notice have to run?
15 days.
Can we virtually set a meeting within 2 weeks so he doesn't have to wait till the second Monday?
And let it run 2 weeks?
I mean, that's what I would propose. If I had to make a motion, I would propose to give Mr. Tanner, given the issue here, at least a special setting. Since we're already virtual anyway, it seems to be not too much of a difficulty. We could set it on a date within 15 days in which all commissioners or a quorum thereof have available. And Judy, I mean, we haven't even made a motion yet, but I see the writing on the wall, and I certainly agree with you from my standpoint and your standpoint and Marvin's input as well. To be totally transparent here, if you looked on the notices and you checked your daily notice, it was just 4 feet. And I think 2 feet is certainly, I'm not saying it might not make a difference, but I certainly want to give people the opportunity to weigh in if they have the opportunity.
50% more than 4 feet. So.
But I also want to give Mr. Tanner his.
Right, and I
just
we all know that we all citizens who do read our agenda and do know what's going on all the time, which is a great thing, and we need to follow our own rules.
Sure, I agree.
So I'm all for the 15 days, whatever it is. I'm happy to meet again. That would be great.
Could we designate this to administrative approval after 15 days? Is that something we could do?
If we don't
I think it'd probably just be best to hear it in case we had somebody that wanted to speak.
If there is,
That's right. So I think we can organize. We can organize a special meeting so long as the commissioners are willing to do that. We can do it within 15 days of posting notice, and so long I can circulate a time and make sure it's convenient with Mr. Tanner and with
notice to be circulated. When will notice go out?
I think we can post it tomorrow.
Okay.
On the website.
I want to give him as quick as we can, and I understand at the same time. I certainly want to give the members of the public, if any, the opportunity to weigh in. Judy, is there a motion to, I guess, postpone this matter until 15 days so that new notice can be run and a special meeting set?
Yes, and well, let me ask you this. I'm okay with doing that. And if the department does not hear from anybody in the public, then let it be, could we go on and vote to approve? I don't know how that would work. Then approve it if we don't hear from anybody?
Yeah, Judy, I don't think we can do that because it's a designated public hearing matter. It doesn't fall under the umbrella of administrative approval. So in essence, it would be a brand new notice and a brand new case. Although it might not have a new case number, it will be altogether new. So it's something that we're required to at least consider and hear and vote on.
Okay. All right, then I would move that we're not continuing. What would it be called?
Postpone.
What's my correct word? Postponing this until due notice can be posted in the paper, and we have a special meeting when that has been accomplished.
On the city's website rather than the paper. This is not like a zoning ordinance that doesn't require paper notice.
Right. The motion made by Commissioner Riddell is to postpone this matter, allowing for proper notice, which is 15 days, to be made, in which time this commission will set a special time and date in which to hear the application. Does everyone?
Yes, that's what I meant to say.
I would like to second that motion.
I have a second. Commissioner Murphy, what say you on the motion?
Yes.
Commissioner Rigby?
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Mr. Tanner, we're going to run this notice, and we will have, we must first, before we leave tonight, we will have a date set because we had to put a date in the notice, and we will provide you with that same, and we will run the notice, my understanding, beginning tomorrow.
Yeah, my hope would be to have the meeting on the 24th.
How's the 24th? I'll make the 24th work.
What day of the week is that?
It's a Wednesday.
I can be there.
I will again be happy to do it.
What time? The 24th is a Wednesday?
It is. We could even do morning.
It could be any time.
We can meet at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do morning.
9
Okay.
a.m.
Does anyone have a problem with 9 a.m. on March 24th?
Do you?
I just have one question for the board.
Sure.
Is there any reason I couldn't install a 6-foot fence, and if it's turned down, I'll rip it down to a 4-foot fence? The financial gain offsets the cost of the fence.
I mean, if you want to ask them to go ahead and vote on 6 foot, they can. And then at that point, this is a continuance or postponement. If you want to ask for a 2-foot different variance on variance, if I were the commission, I'd put that at next meeting. I don't know. You've asked for something. It's in writing. That's what the public saw. You've asked, I think that it be postponed so they can consider 2 additional feet that you asked for at the meeting. I don't really think they can do both and. I think either you want them to vote on this and then you can reapply for something else if you wish, or you don't want them to vote on it. But at some point, just sort of hanging between the two.
And to understand, if we vote on it and deny, it would be just a 4-foot would be our vote, right? What has been announced, what has been noticed, our vote would only be to grant you a 4-foot, and at that point in time, well, then you would have to get a variant, apply for another variance for 2 feet more.
Okay.
Or, I mean,
I just was thinking out loud.
Yeah. I mean, I understand. I'm trying to think of any other options. I mean, we can, again, if he asks for a variance, would it still be 2 weeks? 15 days? So, I mean, putting up a 4-foot fence, the fence described, it would seem difficult to add 2 feet to it.
Yeah, I would have to leave a 6-foot pole and then just have a 4-foot mesh and then come back, take the mesh off, put a 6-foot chain link up, was what I was mentally thinking through. I don't know if it works with the fence guy or not. I just was just trying to get open, that's all.
I mean, the 4-foot fence is allowed. If you have a 6-foot pole, I mean, that's something for, I suppose, for you to consider. And then if you wanted to put if a variance was granted, then you could come back and you could put the taller, the taller fencing around it. But I mean, I think you're just assuming the risk and the liability that's there of a 6-foot pole that was installed, whether or not it's granted.
Gotcha.
That's about all I can.
And all that's assuming the building folks are okay with you putting up a 6-foot pole with only a 4-foot variance. I don't know the answer to that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I will wait 2 weeks.
Okay. The motion has been approved to postpone. March 24th at 9 a.m. is a special meeting. We will all join. You can join in person or virtually. Ben and the planning staff will send out directions.
You bet.
I'm sorry, I just looked at my calendar. Could we do it at 10 a.m.?
It's fine with me.
That's fine.
The applicant has no objection. I have no objection. Anyone else have an objection? All right, we can move it to 10 a.m. We will move it to 10 a.m. On Monday, March 24th for a special meeting, and it will be one case. And we will hear that and then adjourn. The motion has been approved. This matter is now postponed. Case number 2716 is now postponed until 10 a.m. March 24th, 2021. Have your ducks in a row, people. Have your ducks in a row. All right, so with that, we have now come to the end of our agenda, which leaves one motion left to be made.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second, Commissioner Rigby?
Second.
There is a second. All right, Commissioner Murphy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Riddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Rigby?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. We are adjourned. Thank you.